Alright, here is part 2 to my Toby Bethany twin theory and Bethany's big egg. Now we're going to discuss what would have happened that night in order for Bethany to still be alive. Now, all we have is Allison's word for her being buried by her mother that night. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't trust Allison as far as I can throw her. You know, like I said in the last video, Allison lies like she breathes. And honestly, I don't trust anything that comes out of her mouth unless I have something else to support it. And I also think that the letter from Bethany to Allie that we saw in the Christmas episode may be faked. It just seems awfully convenient to me that the girls happened to find exactly what they needed to, clear Spencer's name and make it look like Allison killed Bethany. And I think maybe I'll post later a video explaining perhaps Mona and Bethany are both still alive and working together, but that's a whole nother video. We don't need to go there right now. So I think that Bethany got the yellow top and a copy of the Allison bracelet herself so that she could sneak out of Radley that night and go to the De Laurentiis house to finally get her revenge on the De Laurentiis family. Perhaps she decided she wanted to target Allison so that Jessica would know what it felt like to separate a mother and daughter, so that Jessica would feel the same pain that Bethany had felt when Marion died. Melissa could have buried Allie, who was hit by Bethany but didn't actually die. It always seemed so weird to me that Melissa buries Bethany with thinking she's Allison, who Spencer killed, without noticing that this girl isn't Allison the whole time she's burying her. That seems so suspicious to me. So maybe that girl actually was Allison, who was then pulled out of her grave by Grunwald afterward. And then Allison escapes the hospital and comes back to her house. Then, I think instead of someone hitting Allison and Jessica burying Allison, I think that Allison hit Bethany. Jessica witnessed it, and Jessica decided to bury Bethany to protect Allison. And that when Jessica was saying, what have you done, what have you done, that it was actually Allison who she was talking to. And Allison lied, saying that her mother buried her. I also think, during the Christmas episode, Allison didn't seem to have any resentment toward her mother, considering she claims her mother buried her, what she believed was her dead body, which seems kind of strange to me. I mean, Allison doesn't really seem like the easily forgiving type. You know what I mean? So then Jessica buries Bethany, who they believe is dead, but she's actually not. And she manages to escape her grave. And Allison flees after believing she has murdered Bethany. Now, Bethany's goal was probably to kill Allison, but with Bethany seeing that Allison is gone, maybe she thought the second best thing was to let everyone believe Allison was dead, so that Allison could not come back to Rosewood. Now, Bethany had some mental problems, so I think it's possible that perhaps Bethany killed another blonde girl who looked like Allison, and then took the yellow top and the Allison bracelet that she had worn to look like Allison, and put it on this girl who she had killed. Maybe it was Sarah Harvey, because we know now that Sarah Harvey is not coming back on the show, because we found out that she was just a stock photo. I don't know if you guys know that or not. But, she could definitely be a dead body, because with no other significance other than Bethany murdered her and buried her where Jessica had buried Bethany. Or, it could be some other girl. Who that girl is isn't really important. Just Bethany, being crazy and hell-bent on revenge, kills a random girl so that people will think that Allison is dead. Now, eventually this plan is going to fall through when people realize that Allison is still alive. Now, we know that whoever A is, they have access to a bunch of dental records because they knocked Hannah out at the dentist. So, Bethany could have obtained her own dental records so that when and if, which they, obviously they do, discover that Allison is really alive, Bethany could switch out the dental records and make them believe it is her who is dead. Because maybe she decided if she can't kill Allison or make people think Allison is dead. The next best thing is to make one of her enemies take the fall for her murder. Quote unquote murder. And I'm also wondering if maybe Allison was the one who Jessica said she could no longer protect in that email. I mean, I really haven't thought about it too much. Maybe that's not possible. But I'm thinking that if Jessica buried Bethany for Allison, perhaps Jessica was tired of all the lies and told Allison, you know, you have to fess up to what you did. I'm not going to help you anymore. Now, why I think Bethany could be Big A or Uber A or, you know, again, whatever you want to call it. Well, I looked on the PLL wiki, and I believe that Big A has not done anything to physically hurt Toby since season 2, when Mona was original A. I mean, obviously, season 2, Mona has no attachment to Toby, so she has no problem hurting Toby. But if Bethany's Big A, and, you know, she wants a relationship with her brother, she wants to go after these girls for hurting him, she obviously wouldn't do anything to physically hurt Toby. Now, the only times that Toby has been hurt, definitely by A or by someone on the A team, it seems, since season 2, when Mona was in charge, is at the Lodge Fire, when he's knocked out by someone. Now, I think that perhaps if Bethany is in charge, maybe she could have ordered Toby to be knocked out so that he would be passed out during the Lodge Fire and would be unable to intervene. Because if Toby had been conscious and he had known that the girls were stuck in the lodge, I think he probably would have tried to help. I mean, Spencer was in there, and he loves Spencer. I'm a total Spobie fan, just so you know. Sidebar. Had to throw that in there. I'm sorry. I think he would have tried to intervene, and then he could have gotten hurt or even killed, and, you know, Bethany can't have that, so she probably thought it would be safer for him if she got someone to knock him out while the lodge fire was taking place. And Toby's house was also blown up, but not while Toby was living there or inside. So perhaps Bethany hates her father because she feels like he took Jessica's side, and, you know, in her ill mind, maybe that makes sense. And so she kind of was trying to get back at her father and her stepmother for them not trying to help her all these years. And I don't think Jenna was living there at that time. I'm pretty sure. I'm kind of not really sure where she is exactly these days. But I believe that A has tried to kill Jenna a couple times, which would make sense if Bethany's A, because she would obviously hate Jenna for what she did to Toby. I mean, Jenna forced Toby to have a sexual relationship with her. I mean, that's one of the worst things you can do to someone. Like, that's rape, blackmailing someone into sex. I mean, I hate Jenna for what she did to Toby. Bethany sure would. Also, A gave Toby information about Marion's death, almost as if A wants Toby to know the truth, which, if Bethany is A, which I think she is, then she would definitely want Toby to find out the truth, because, I mean, I'm going on the assumption that Toby would have no knowledge about any of this. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of biased because I love Toby and I love Spobie. I mean, it's possible that he could know about Bethany being his twin, but I really want to believe that Toby is being honest now, and he's not keeping things from Spencer or the girls anymore. So I think it's possible he could know nothing if, like I said, Bethany was taken away when they were really little and his parents lied to him about the girl he remembers. Alright. Now, also, I always thought that maybe A was going easy on Aria, because Aria's hardly ever hurt, and there's the one scene where the bottle lands on Aria, but they change it to Spencer. So I thought maybe that Aria was A for a long time. I was convinced that Aria was Big A. But now I'm wondering if perhaps A isn't going easy on Aria. A just really hates Spencer. Maybe in Bethany's mind, Spencer is the worst out of the 4 girls, because maybe Bethany believes that Spencer is manipulating Toby or using him through their relationship. And maybe in Bethany's mentally ill mind, that makes sense. Like I said, you know, Bethany has some serious issues. I think that's pretty clear. And I think Emily's probably the one who's targeted second. I think Spencer is one of the girls who, other than Allison, is threatened by A the most, followed by Emily, who's been in physical danger several times. And those two, Spencer and Emily, out of the four, are the closest to Toby. You know, Spencer's his girlfriend, and Emily is a really good friend of his. And then, you know, A goes easiest on Aria, and Aria and Toby, like, never interacted one-on-one, I don't think. I think they did in shadow play, but that was in Spencer's dream, so I don't think that really counts. And also, Marlene said that we would feel pity for Big A when we found out who it was. And I think that while it would not excuse her actions at all, that if we found out Bethany, this poor, lonely, mentally ill girl, was A, because the De Laurentises had ruined her family, I think I would feel a little sorry for her, at least. I mean, it doesn't excuse what she did, but, you know, I would feel bad for this girl who's lost everything. Her family had bad thing after bad thing happen to them. I mean, I would feel a little bad for her. Alright, well, that's my theory, and feel free to leave a comment, and tell me what you think. Hopefully I'll have more PLL videos for you soon. Thanks!